Hey family, thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a lovely day. I was speaking to the Lord today, early this morning, and I was like, God, what do you want me to talk about? What do I say to these people? I don't just wake up one morning and decide I want to talk about this. No, I literally go to pray and ask God what He wants me to talk about because He knows who exactly is going to be viewing this video and He knows exactly what you're going through. So I want Him to speak to your heart. I want Him to speak to that situation in your life. So when I was asking God, He just flashed my life like right in front of my eyes, and He told me that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm gonna be very transparent. There was a season in my life, the end of last year, I was going through a very, very bad time. It was very, very suicidal. I used to tell God, just take me. Just take me. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be alive. Just take me. I battled depression. I battled suicidal thoughts. And the only thing that saved me was the presence of God. There was never a time that I needed God like I needed Him in that season. I yearned for His presence. I yearned for His love. All I wanted was just His heart. I was after His heart. I was after Him. So He told me I wanted to talk about my presence. So I want to talk to you about the presence of God today. Um, I'm in the book of Daniel, chapter 3, verse 23 to 25. So my text says, and these three men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fire furnace. 24. Then King Nebuchadnezzar was astonished, and he arose in haste and spoke, saying to his counselors, did we not cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said to the king, true, O king. Look, he answered, I see four men loose, walking to the midst of the fire, and they're not hurt. Wow. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. So when we look at this verse, most of the times we people make it seem like the fourth man just appeared. God didn't just appear in the fire. He has always been with them. If you go up in the chapter, you're gonna see that these were godly men. They were the friends of Daniel. They were godly men. They refused to bow to the golden image. For those of you who are Bible scholars, you know the story. For those of you who don't know the story, these men, they were asked to bow before a golden image, but they were Christians. They were Jews. They said, we will not bow to a golden image. So the verdict was to be thrown into the lake of fire for not obeying the law that was set by the king. So when they were thrown into the fire, the Bible said that the king saw four men, and the fourth one looked like the Son of God. And he didn't just appear, he's always been there. There are situations in your life that will come to make you realize that God has always been there with you. The Bible says He's a very present help in times of trouble. He didn't just come in that time. He is always there. That situation just makes Him more visible. So they were thrown into the fire. We can interpret this fire as the storms that we are going through, the troubles and the problems that we're experiencing in our society today. I was just asking God earlier today. I was like, God, this world is becoming so chaotic. Like, what do we preach? What do we say? We are growing in this society that is just so corrupted, that is just so evil. The days are so dark. There is darkness and there is death everywhere. And we have to get married and eventually have children and raise them in this same society. That's even if we're going to make it to those days. What do we do? How on earth are we going to survive in this wicked world? And I felt God said, like, Deborah, you need my presence. What this world needs is my presence. We need the presence of God in this season. We need the presence of God to change the criminal justice. We need the presence of God to stop human trafficking in Namibia. We need the presence of God to stop rape, to stop murder, to stop every kind of chaotic thing that is happening in this world. The presence of God is what we need. We are not gonna make it unless we get the presence of God. Everybody is after money. People are after money. People are after career. We are pursuing other things, fame, money, other things except the presence of God. We need to pursue the presence of God because it is the presence that makes a shift. It is the presence that breaks the bondage. It is the presence that makes a way for God to move. It is the presence of God that breaks the strongholds. It is the presence of God that changes the hearts of our generation and make them turn back to God. It is the presence of God. The presence of God. The presence of God. I was looking back in my life and I said, God, I don't know how I'm going to make it. I don't know how I'm going to make it. I got big dreams, but I'm looking around. The whole world is dark. There is darkness. There is death everywhere. How on earth am I going to make my dreams come true? How on earth will I survive in this wicked world? It gets more wicked and more evil every single day. How will I do it? And God said, child, you need my presence. If you got my presence, then you are fine. All you need is my presence. You don't need your mama. You don't need your father. You don't need the government. You need my presence. You don't need the criminal justice. Deborah, you need my presence. God is telling you, you need his presence. If you're going through a season in your life, if you're going through a tough time, oh, this is the word for you. I feel like this is the word for somebody. The presence of God is what you need. Go after the presence of God. Go after the presence of God. How do you access the presence? Through praise and worship. Through praise and worship in the midnight. During midnight, Paul and Silas were singing praises to God. In Acts 16 verse 25 to 26, they were singing praises to God in the midnight. And the Bible says that the chains fell off. He enthroned himself in the presence of his people. That's how you get the presence of God. Through praise and worship, through fellowship, praying. When you pray and have a fellowship with him, that's how you get the presence of God. Go after the presence of God. I beg you to go after the presence of God. That's the only thing that's going to help us survive. That's the only thing that is going to help us stand still and stand strong in this season, in this crazy world. We need the presence of God. I want people to know that the presence of God is all we need. We need the presence. We don't need anything to move in this world. We need the presence. I need the presence to change the criminal justice. You need the presence to change your family. You need the presence. Every leader, every mother, every parent, every guardian who is watching this, I want you to know the presence of God is what we need. We need the presence of God in the government to change the country. We need the presence of God when they are making laws for our land. We need the presence of God when we are making rules and regulations for our homes and our children. We need the presence of God. I feel that for somebody. You need the presence of God. You need the presence of God. Be spirit filled. Let the spirit fill you. God, we need your presence. God, we need your presence. God is after a generation. He is looking for young women and men who are going to stand up and say, I'm not after the fame. I'm not after the money. I'm after the presence of God. I'm not after what people say. I'm after the presence of God. I want the presence of God. I want to be spirit filled. I want to be God filled. Let people see your presence in me. God, I want your presence. God, I want your presence. Go after the presence. Go after the presence. It never runs out. Go after the presence. And that storm will not swallow you. Whatever you're going through right now, I want you to know the presence of God is the answer. You won't make it without the presence of God. You won't make it. You're broken, the presence. You're battling depression, the presence. You're battling financial problems. The presence of God is enough. The presence is enough. There is fullness of joy in his presence. There is satisfaction. There is sufficiency. Strongholds cannot stand his presence. Darkness cannot stay his presence. Wickedness has to back up in his presence. The presence of God is all that we need. Beloved, I urge you to go after the presence of God. We need him more than ever in this season. Go after his presence. Go after his presence. The presence of God is all we need. God is saying that his presence is all we need. The fire could not hurt them because the presence. Let us search the presence. Let us thirst for the presence of God. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I'm so blessed by this. I'm so blessed by this. There's no way we're gonna stop the human trafficking in our country unless we ask for the presence of God. We need the presence of God to cover the entire land. We need the presence of God to cover our roads, our children, our women and men, to fill our men. The presence of God. I hope you take this word and apply it into your life, and you'll remain blessed. I love you and I'm praying for you. I'll talk to you soon.